Avery Island is located in the bayous of Louisiana, west of New Orleans. Only 2 miles wide, the island has been owned by the McElhennys and their family for almost 200 years.
This is where we take our pepper mash.
It's 9 a.m. That means Tony Simmons, the 5th-generation CEO, is heading to the warehouse for his daily taste test. Farmers all over the world grow the peppers, mash them, and ship it all back to Avery Island.
You do this every morning that you're here?
Every morning I'm here. I check these barrels if they're making mash. Where's this from, Clark?
Colombia.
That means every bottle of Tabasco in the world has his personal seal of approval.
So I'm looking at the color, and that's why I've got an incandescent light. I want to look at the color. I want to look at the seed. And when I taste the mash, usually what I'm looking for is I get some salt out on the edges of my tongue. And then about the time you think, well, this isn't that much of a big deal, the heat comes late.
It was Simmons's great-great-grandfather, Edmund McElhenny, who created the sauce shortly after the Civil War. He began selling his concoction in old cologne bottles in New Orleans, calling it Tabasco.
There was no commercially sold hot sauce before Tabasco. Edmund invented the category. This was Edmund McElhenny's original recipe, which he wrote down in the back of one of his account books. To each gallon of ripe fruit, add 1 coffee cup full of salt.
There aren't many things that you can point to and say that is uniquely American. Tabasco is something that probably you put on the list.
The first family of hot sauce turned Tabasco into one of the oldest and largest family-owned and operated businesses in the country. From the beginning, the company has always been run by and for family members. The top management, board, and 130 stockholders are all McElhenny descendants. Harold Took Osborne, another of Edmund's great-great-grandsons and Tony Simmons' younger cousin, is next in line to run the company. Even though he's the heir to the Tabasco crown, Osborne inspects the pepper bushes himself, much as his ancestors did.
You have to walk through the field and we take rope and we say this plant, that plant. You can almost see the personality of the plants, and then we tie string around them and come back and pick just those plants for next year's season.
The company grows peppers on 20 acres of Avery Island, not to produce sauce, but to produce seeds, which are sent to farmers abroad.
It's essentially an heirloom plant, essentially the original stock.
So you're saying these peppers are genetically the same as the original peppers?
As far as we know, yes. We've never modified them. Every time you breed something, you give away something, and taste is always the first thing that gets cast away.
We have a very talented food scientist named Charlie Chang, and if we want to create a flavor, we go to Charlie and tell him what we want, and then he'll bring it to me and to my cousin Harold, and we'll try it and tell him if we like it or if we don't like it, and if we think he should change it, and then he'll go back and fiddle with it until he satisfies us. And at the point where he satisfies us, then we will get our larger officer group, and if all of us agree we've got the product right, then we'll actually do some consumer testing. We'll do some blind taste testing. We also have a sensory panel. So it's probably about a 4-year process overall.
So no room full of scientists, but instead a guy in his early 70s named Charlie Chang.
Yes.
This is one of the most recognized companies in the world, and yet there's this incredibly insular, small way of thinking about things that they take, again, a lot of pride in. It's inseparable, the story now, for me, of Tabasco and the taste and the product itself. I look at this and I can't help it. Hey, look on the back here, Avery Island, you know, and that's where every bottle is made. And, you know, I got young kids and they start asking me all these questions. What's Avery Island like? What do they do there? Do they all eat hot sauce? Yes, they eat it morning, noon, and night, you know. I don't know that something could taste better because you know the story of it, but it sure seems like it.